Hey, Steven. All right, so I'm going to run you through all the technology, give you visual representations of what it does so you can see it, how we represented it. Also, if you want to, you can download case studies here. Uh, you can schedule a demo, which is basically what this is. And you can download our media kit that'll talk about other services. That would be our product arsenal. This would be IP targeting, matchback analysis, and I'll go through this towards the end. But let's start with the video, and then I'll actually show you the back end of El Toro 2. That would be this right here, so you can see how you target and how you find how many people you can target. So let's go ahead and start the video. There, a little background on advertising. There are about 100 billion ads served every day, and 55% of all web traffic is actually generated by web bots. So these are those spiders that crawl and click on stuff. And in 2015, $6.3 billion was wasted in online advertising because web bots emulate human behavior, like navigating websites, clicking on ads, and filling out conversion forms, which is a huge issue because web bots are never going to purchase anything. And so that's why this marketing technology has been really on the rise. I also being able to narrow down your specific target. So you can see in this representation that, well, so venue replay is what you're really looking at. And that is our ability to collect device IDs, catalog them, all for future targeting. So you can see that we're going through the office here, and we're essentially pinging devices and getting the device ID. Once we obtain the device ID, we can actually follow the individual. It's not exactly how it's represented here where we're watching them drive. It's more so that when an ad is served to that device ID, we know the location. And ads are served tens of thousands of times a day. You may not see all of them, but you're being served them on all of your apps. So that's how we're able to track them. So once we track them home, and the way that we identify their home is between certain hours like 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., you'll see a pattern with device IDs where they're located. And so once we get that device ID, uh, and track them home and see that that device ID is in the same location every night between the hours of 2 and 5 a.m., or that would be morning, we can deduct that that's their home more than likely. And then with that location data, we can ping the home and get the IP address for the house. Now, once we obtain the IP address for the house, this is where things get a lot more cool. This is our ability now to target anything that's on their home Wi-Fi or on just their home network if it's a LAN. So so that would be us being able to target different cell phones inside the home. We can target computers, laptops, tablets, uh, iPads, anything that's connected to the internet. We actually can target TVs too, which isn't as effective. It'll be more effective later. It's just more so because most people don't enable their advertising tech on their TV. So I don't want you to get distracted by that. So let's talk about the product arsenal here, and then we'll go into the back end of the website or the back end of the tech. So I think Venue Replay will work well for you guys because you can target urgent cares. Like you can see that I targeted an Instacare when we go into the back end of the software. But I think IP targeting initially will be really beneficial for you if you have if you already have the data. Um, it's also cheaper. Where Venue Replay, that video that I just showed you, that's $30 per 1,000 impressions. So IP targeting is 25. So you can get a lot more out of a lot more bang for your buck by doing IP targeting. And that's if you have the address. So if you have the address of your targets, we use ISP authenticated data. So we take the address and we're linked in with, I think it's 97% of communication companies. So we talk to Time Warner or Spectrum or Cox Communications or whoever it is, and they will actually authenticate the IP address for that address. So we know for sure that we're sending the ad to the intended target. Not that they moved or anything like that. And so we can authenticate that that is your actual target, so we know that we're not wasting money on that, and we can send individual ads specifically to the home. So if you want to break out your patient lists and say, all right, this entire block of patients hasn't come in for a checkup. Let's remind them to come in for a checkup. You give us that data, we can send specifically them that message. Hey, come in for a checkup, or if it's a woman that needs to get a mammogram or some sort of checkup, then we can send that intended message. So I actually think that's probably the strongest thing for you guys. But I don't think you should put all your money into one aspect of your marketing plan. I think that you should definitely say, all right, let's do a little bit in IP targeting and targeting our own patients, and let's do a little bit of venue replay and targeting those patients. And our matchback analysis that you see right here, this is how we know, this is our tracking our ROI, right? So we cross-reference your patient data with who we're sending messages to. So for instance, if you're doing IP targeting and we know that we're targeting Stephen Kimball, um, you'll know when Stephen Kimball comes in. So what we do is every month you give us a list. Obviously, it has to be HIPAA compliant, but you give us a list of people that have come in, and we cross-reference that with the people that we've been targeting. So we can say, all right, this has been this effective because we were targeting Stephen Kimball and Stephen Kimball came in. And that's how we do a matchback analysis and really identify that we're getting an ROI. So captive audience is our ability moving forward. Captive audience is our ability to target Wi-Fi's. So if you know that people are connecting to Wi-Fi's in a building and that's common, like that's common at Starbucks or internet cafes, we can target anyone that's connected to those Wi-Fi's, which is really cool tech. You might want to play around with that and see if there are any places where people are commonly go on Wi-Fi's that you would want to target. I wouldn't do that with hospitals and urgent cares because people don't typically do that. But if you know a meeting place that people do, then that's great. Digital New Movers is a great new program, super successful. If you guys want to target individuals that have just recently moved into an area, we can do that. So per location where Granger is, if you want to tell people that you guys have a facility there and they just moved into that zip code, we can target anyone that's just moved into the zip code. Super cool tech. And then we have the reverse append, which is I'm skipping over out of home because you guys won't even use that. That's more like billboards. I mean, if you guys do want to use that, that's awesome. But that's more digital billboards, advertising out of the home, through where like lots of people travel, bus stops, stuff like that. Reverse append is where we can take the IP targeting data, or we can take venue replay, and actually also take anonymous website visitors and send them mailers to their home. So if someone simply just comes onto your website, we can send a mailer to their home for Granger Medical. So um, let's go into the back end here so you can see this. So in this platform, I targeted the Salt Lake Instacare here, and you can see we call this a polygon. I drew it around the side of the building that the Instacare is on. And we, in the last 6 months, were able to identify 1,454 unique device IDs. Now, we followed those device IDs home, and we got another 3,386 more devices. So that would be mobile phones, desktops, laptops, tablets, iPads, um, stuff like that. And so we can send ads not just to the cell phone, but to their devices in their home. So I wanted to show you how to set up a campaign. So I'll just go ahead and add a campaign here, and we'll call this Granger. So it's pretty simple. You come in here, you set up, you create the campaign name. You have the flight dates. That's the days that these are going to go out. So you can simply just adjust those, and the target type. So this would be business consumer. That's what your campaign will always be, because you're not doing business to business. If you're doing the new movers program, you do it this way. You're not going to do political, but then you can also do venue replay. I don't want to make this like a 30-minute video for you, so we're just going to do venue replay because that's what you're currently interested in. And unless you want to do a video, which is a little bit more expensive, I think it's $50 per 1,000 impressions. You are going to do a banner and then start the setup. Now, once you get in here, we're going to need to create an order line. So we'll go ahead and click on this button right here to create the order line. And again, you have your flight dates. This is what your budget is calling for. So what you want to do is you want to identify how many impressions you're going to send. So let's say that you wanted to target all 1,454 from that one building, and you want to send them messages every day. So we recommend sending 3 impressions every day to onboard someone. So that's going to cost you $2.07, and that's how many impressions total a day times an average of 30. You're looking at 1,030 impressions. Okay. So, and 860. So we're going to come here and we're going to say, all right, I want to target 100, and we'll do 131. Okay. So your budget per month for this one location is 3,930. So I recommend doing at least 5 locations to test the program out, see if you guys like it. So if you have it in your budget, I would recommend, and you'd need to run the data, which I'll help you with, but you should actually be looking around 20,000 for this first campaign. Again, if you have it, you have a use it or lose it. I think right now you might as well use that to test it against 5 different locations. So you come in here, you put in that information, then you go to your targets. Now this is where then you come down here and click on venue replay. This is where you're actually finding a location. So we come in here and we put in the address. Now, and then zoom in so we can see the actual building. If you can't see the building, then you can switch over to satellite. And so, and you'll always be able to see it in satellite. And so you'll just click on each entry point and it'll identify the location. That was a little wonky, probably want to redo that. And then you simply just click save. And it will start compiling the information for you. So once you identify your targets, you come into creatives. And this is where you'll upload, all your different types of ads. You'll upload them here. Our software will check them, make sure that they're in compliance with the rules and regulations for sending ads out into the public. So obviously no pornography. I mean, you guys want to do this, but no pornography, no guns. There's a whole list of things that you can't have, but the medical industry, you guys would never come across that. Obviously, you can't make on the medical side. You can't make declarative statements. You can't say that you guys heal better than Instacare does. And then it goes through the review process that I was just discussing, and then you're deployed. So this is it. If you have any questions, then feel free to reach out to me. Thank you, Steven.